Hi there, my name is Kay Moon and I am a Twin Flame channel and Western astrologer. And this is a video about the Taurus New Moon of 2020 happening on April 22nd, 2020 at 10:25 p.m. in Miami, Florida on the eastern seaboard of the United States. However, if you happen to be elsewhere, please use a time zone converter to find your local time zone. This new moon, the Taurus New Moon, is what I call the Divine Feminine's new moon. As Taurus is the first feminine sign of the zodiac, Aries being the first masculine sign of the zodiac. The Aries new moon happened last month in April, or no, March, is the end of March. And these two new moons will really anchor in what the energies are going to be for the remainder of the astrological year for twins. Next month, we'll have the Gemini New Moon, and that will be the Twin Flames New Moon, and that energy will provide, insight and guidance for what Twin Flames will be dealing with over the course of, the next astrological year. So, I will link below this video the Aries new moon so that you can watch the Divine Masculine's new moon and kind of compare and contrast. These two new moons will also provide further insight into the channeled messages for twin flames, the Divine Masculine and Divine Feminine channeled messages. That I put out, I believe Divine Masculines was November of last year, Divine Feminines was November of last year, Divine Masculines was December of last year, channeled messages about what the year would be like for both twins. So you can feel free to have a look at those as well. I'm so excited about this new moon. I have to say, both this new moon and the Divine Masculine's new moon are filled with such positive energy. We just closed out some pretty heavy duty cycles on the Capricorn Cancer eclipse axis. And we're moving into the Sagittarius Gemini nodal axis and energy. I talk a lot about that in the general video for this new moon. So I'm not going to get into all of that here. This new moon video, I'm just going to focus in on the overarching energies for the new moon, and then what Juno, the asteroid, I read as the Divine Feminine, what planets she's talking to and what energies she's speaking to, and Jupiter, the energy I read as Divine Masculine, what planets and energies he's speaking to, and what changes that means for him. As you all know, both twins carry both energies. So take what resonates for you. Pay attention to your own guidance and honor that. Just because all things that are true aren't necessarily true for all people at the same time. So just utilize this to validate your own intuition. Rather than invalidate your own intuition. Focus on the parts that validate what you have been shown is true for you and your journey. So the overarching energy for this new moon, you can see this new moon is right here at the 3rd degree of Taurus, and we've got Uranus sitting with the new moon. It's a super exciting energy and time because Taurus represents the body. Taurus also represents femininity and feminine form. It also represents as a bit of our values: money, time, energy as a value, the physical body as a value, and the 3D world, what we value in the 3D world. And Uranus is all about the divine. This is literally a conjunction of divinity with femininity happening at this Taurus new moon. And so all divine feminines are being given this wonderful upgrade of your divinity and of your femininity all at once. This is huge. This is also transformative in such a way that it can be super triggering. You may find that you need extra time to kind of balance and navigate the energies and feel your way through what's changing as you move through your physical body. This is a beautiful time to do some sort of physical 3D world detox, as this particular new moon comes with so much heavy earth energy. The earth signs, you can see here, there are 8 placements in earth signs. The earth signs really govern the 3D world: physical body, home, money, material world. And so with divinity meeting this new moon, this is such a powerful new beginning. This is a new beginning in the world of insight where it pertains to your physical body and your 3D world. What is it that you need to do to hold more love and more light codes? That's the question of this new moon. How to hold more love and more light codes. I love this new moon because the gift of it is about evolution, and it's about change, and it's about giving ourselves permission to stop playing small, to stop being the sacrificial lamb on somebody else's altar. Because this new moon is also trine Pholus here in Capricorn. Pholus is all about, the self-sacrifice, the sacrifice that gets made of our life because of other people's issues and challenges, the ways that we become accidental damage in someone else's power play. And so with this new moon trine Pholus, we get insight into where we've been allowing that to happen in our lives. And we also get the power to be able to change in the physical world, to put those patterns to rest and become higher vibrational representations of our divinity incarnate on planet Earth in a body. So this is huge, 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 huge. This new moon is also sextile Ceres here. And I love that sextile to Ceres because Ceres represents the mother and motherhood as the asteroid in the zodiac that speaks specifically to the goddess who came to Earth to show human beings how to plant and how to nurture their bodies with food, when to harvest, what foods to eat. This new moon, Ceres is sitting in Aquarius. Aquarius is all about change and evolution. Uranus is the ruler, the modern day ruler of Aquarius. Uranus is sitting in the sign of nurturing and in the sign of values. This is a massive quantum leap type upgrade to the way we as feminine energies, and even if you're in a male body, you can still carry a feminine energy. We all have both. This is a massive upgrade to the way our feminine energies are going to go about the business of honoring ourselves going forward, and a recognition of the ways that we need to take care of ourselves and take care of what matters to us, take care of what values at a much higher standard than the ways we've been taking care of ourselves and the things that we value previously. I just want to take a moment of pause to say, for everyone who is a frontline worker during this pandemic, I just heard a statistic today that said that 2/3 of frontline workers during this pandemic are women. And this could just be in the state of New York, but it could also be worldwide. This is massive. And really taking the time to honor as a woman how you care for yourself in this moment of crisis is a big piece of what this new moon is asking you to do. And the collective around you, we're all being asked, wow, women matter so much. It is so important that we take care of them in new ways and take care of our feminine energies, male or female body, that we take care of our feminine energies and we honor them in more highly evolved ways going forward. So, very exciting times where we step out of playing small, we step out of sacrificing ourselves. Um, yeah, so this is very exciting. I definitely recommend you have a listen to the general video for this new moon, because the general video takes a much deeper dive and a deeper cut at understanding what these energies mean and why they're flowing the way that they flow, and the areas of life specifically that we're being asked to nurture more fully and how we can do that. I'm not going to get into all of that here, otherwise this video would just be too long. Um, and instead, what I'm going to focus on now are the energies facing Juno, whom I read as the divine feminine, and Jupiter, whom I read as the divine masculine. Since this is the divine feminine's new moon, let's talk about Juno first. Here she is at the 9th degree of Libra. She is sitting harmoniously placed to this Venus and Vesta at 12 and 14 degrees Gemini. Note that these are both air signs, and air signs represent mind and communication. There's insight and revelation here about what we value and what we're committed to in our partnerships, as Juno sits in the partnership sign. And Venus is value and Vesta is commitment. Both of those sit in the sign of mental communication. That's Gemini. Venus is in shadow for her upcoming retrograde. Venus is going to go retrograde. Juno is already retrograde. She's the first retrograde of this year. That started off 2020, the divine feminine. And so this is, I think, also why my guides had told me to call the 2020 channeling for divine feminine energies that I did back in November, Her Heart Leads the Way. After having gone through a retrograde process, and her retrograde ends on May 26th, Juno will have illumination and enlightenment about the ways that she needs to care for her relationships and herself inside of her relationships. There's going to be a new standard put forth by all of our feminine energies about what will and won't work in our relationships, the way we will and won't communicate, what we will and won't tolerate, the ways we will and won't sacrifice, the ways we will and won't be with people anymore. This Juno retrograde is showing us a new way forward during this time. And so one of the things that I put out and things I've been trying to put out are access to tools for feminine energies to find their way forward. We've got the Tools for Union series. I put out the Supporting Feminine Energy offer from Allison Armstrong. There's more coming from Allison Armstrong in the coming weeks, so just stay tuned. But the divine feminine's light and her going within to seek wisdom, and now coming out by May 26th to share what she has learned with the world, is part of what this Taurus new moon is illuminating. This new moon is taking the divine feminine to a deeper level of wisdom about how she needs to shine during this time and going forward through 2020, how she needs to shine, how she can embody more of her own divine energy in the world of work and in the world of family and the world of relationship, because those are the four energies here. In addition to herself, those are the four cardinal energies that she touches and that she's been going through a very difficult school on during this retrograde. Venus retrograde is now going to heighten and amplify the divine feminine's clarity about these things as Venus goes retrograde in the sign of Gemini. So there will be illumination for you in your twin connections around where and how feminine energy has been held, how it's being worked with, how it's being utilized. Are we honoring the feminine energy in this connection? Are we denigrating the feminine energy in this connection? Am I even being an expression of feminine energy in this connection, regardless of whether you have male, female body? The question is about how are we utilizing feminine energy and how are we honoring feminine energy at that higher level of divine expression. There's the women of the world, and then there's divine feminines. And what we're being asked to do is being a full embodiment and expression of divine femininity with this new moon. So Venus is going to go retrograde May 13th through June 25th, the 21st through the 5th degrees of Gemini. And over the course of that retrograde, like I said, we'll be able to question and start to understand our values as it pertains to femininity going forward. It'll be about a 40-day period of reevaluating what really matters in our divine connections and the true meaning of love, the true meaning of what love is and what love does, and releasing our mental attachment to outcomes. Because Gemini doesn't commit to outcomes. Gemini commits to exploring what's true so that it can, once it evolves to the opposing sign Sagittarius, then follow a path forward. But Gemini's gift is the capacity to explore everything to its fullest and think through everything fully and thoroughly. That's one of the main gifts of Gemini, is thorough thought. But this is, in order to get there, we have to release our attachment to mental outcomes, but keep our commitment to our values. And that's that Vesta piece. It's, what do you value? What do you want to guard? What are you committed to serving in your value set in our relationships? But in particular, this is going to be about valuing ourselves and our connections and no longer swapping self-love for love from another person. There's been so much of that self-sacrifice in the template around divine connections, and this particular new moon is wanting us to reset that so that self-love and love of another sit equally. And that's Libra, partnership. That's Libra, balance. That's where the divine feminine sits. And Libra, all year long, how do we love ourselves and love another without having it be so either or? How do we have both and? And that's one of the other gifts of this Gemini Venus retrograde talking to Juno, is we're going to have the opportunity to explore the both and. Let's see. Yeah, this is a gift. This is a moment of divine recognition of who we are, how much we matter, how much feminine energy matters, and its power and its gifts. This is also a moment of divine reclamation, of pulling our feminine energy out from inside of us and allowing its light and love to guide ourselves and the collective forward. Much of this, this is good. So yeah, much of this also has to do with a recognition of the way our work world is set up and ways we want to work as well. For many, this new moon is going to be the clarion call to take that next step toward your divine mission work and serving the collective as we lean into Aquarius energy. So Aquarius is the sign of the people. It's a sign of the revolution, evolution, technology, quantum leaps forward, divine strokes of insight, and divine strokes of genius. There is three placements here in Aquarius. We've also got Uranus aspecting this new moon, Uranus being the modern day ruler of Aquarius. This is all about, for many of us, how it's time to move into that service work that is going to serve the collective, move the collective forward, and no longer waiting. The waiting period is done. This is the moment to move and to make things manifest again, as we talked about on the 3D plane, in terms of your divine mission and divine service work, divine feminines. Let's see what else I have here in my notes about this. Yeah. Oh, what I love about this too is that there's a bit of a trine here, almost a grand trine, not quite, but a trine between this values energy over here between Venus and Vesta and this motivational energy here, Mars and Aquarius. This is giving us this inspiration to act because there's passion energy here. Anytime you see Venus and Mars coming together harmoniously, it is pure raw passion and energy to move on what we value, to move on what we're drawn to and attracted to, because Venus is a magnet. And so this energy of Venus and Mars and Vesta coming together is about really recognizing with our mind what it is we want to act on in terms of our service work, and taking that first step during this new moon in the physical world. And I talk a lot about this in that general video. So if you're curious about that, needing more inspiration, definitely click on that general video so we can look at your divine service work. And if you know that, this is a moment of transition for you, either perhaps, your job laid you off or furloughed you, or this is a moment when, maybe the job didn't lay you off, you're still working and you're like, I have got to stop doing this job. I know I'm called to something more than what I'm doing. This is a beautiful time to do a personal reading with me. Personal readings, either 30 or 60 minutes. We can take a deep look at what is your divine service work? What are you called to do? What are your spiritual gifts? And how can you manifest them in the world of 3D form? For some of you, this is about anchoring and holding in a vibration and carrying that vibration into whatever environment you work into. Yet for others of you, this is really specifically about where you lay your hands during your working and waking hours. Like where are you placing your body and what are you doing to be of service? And so if you want to have a look at that, all of us we were incarnated with a 10th house of fame and honors, which is our work house, a first house and second house, which is our self and our earned income, fifth house and sixth house, creative work and service. We'll be looking at those houses in your chart to understand what is your divine mission work. It's time to step into it. So just email me at chrysalismoon@gmail.com, KRYSALISMOON@gmail.com. And we can have a look at that, because one of the beautiful gifts of you stepping into that expression of love via your mission work is you become more magnetic and radiant in your twin connection. You become that much more a magnet for that higher level connection to manifest on the 3D form, because you're already channeling that higher vibration of love energy through your form into the world, so that it becomes a gift to the world, and it also lifts your twin and allows your twin to feel greater magnetization and stepping into their divine mission work as well. So if you want to have a look at that, definitely email me. We'll do it in a personal reading. The moon and Uranus here, one of the gifts of this new moon as well, is that the moon and Uranus sitting together, this new moon, are casting a light over to Earth. Earth is sitting here at the 3rd degree of Scorpio. And Scorpio is all about changing the world. This is literally saying it is the divine feminine's energy and the divine feminine's work and the divine feminine's valuing of herself that is gonna change the world. The world is literally sitting in the sign of alchemy, death, transformation, and rebirth. That's Scorpio. So, I can't tell you how much I love this new moon. It is such an exciting new moon. But it's through divine feminine action that the world then begins to change. And because this is Taurus, this action comes from care and love, and it's based on what we truly value, and the image of love that we want to shape the world into. So there's this energy here of a choice as well. As with all energies in the sky and in astrology, I don't read the stars as destiny. I read them as a blueprint to the kind of dark warehouse we're all bumping around in. And so you understand the map and you know which way you want to go. All energies are neutral, and we can choose to play them out in the light or the shadow. So there's a choice point here because there's amplification energy in the air. Are we going to put our attention and our time and our energy and our money and resources, this is Taurus, all the things we value, into the things we no longer want? Because there's definitely an opportunity to carry forward codependent energies here. I go in depth about this in the general video. If you want to have a look at the general video, this right here between Venus and Vesta and Nessus and Neptune is sucking all of us into our old addictive patterns and rearing their ugly heads and our old addictive codependencies. Some of us are even having those operate on autopilot. We don't even recognize we're there. The general new moon video speaks to that and helps you identify some of that. The other option is we can move in the other direction and we can put our attention on what we want to create and the energy and movement toward creating it, with this Venus and Vesta speaking to Mars here. Venus and Vesta are speaking to both energies, this Nessus Neptune and this Mars. How are we going to play the moment? We get to choose what we want to amplify and what we would like to release. You know, I've promoted on my channel and shared postings from these two before, but some of you know Twins in Union, Shri Ramka and Kira Ra. You can find them at official Shri and Kara. They put forward incredible videos every single week to help light workers in the Ascending Collective understand the energies and how to lift into that higher vibrational frequency of love and that higher vibrational resonance of carrying light codes into your physical form. They talk about how to do this, what are the energies playing forward. Much of it is channeled, and it's such a sweet gift to listen to their radio show. Sometimes you'll find me in their comments and their chat. But if you're looking for resources on how to make the quantum leap, listen to Shri and Kara. They're a great resource. This past week, they specifically talked about how this is a choice moment, a choice point, turning point for the collective. Infinite Waters, another great resource for positivity, talked about the necessity of, in one of his more recent videos, that instead of attacking what we hate, we can start promoting what we love. That just being against and anti and spending our time saying this is wrong and you're doing it wrong and you should do it this way and you shouldn't do it that way and you're doing this incorrectly, that rebounds on us faster than anything. That type of judgment rebounds on us so quickly under moons like this new moon, the Aries new moon, and the Gemini new moon coming up. Instead, we can just spend our time promoting what we love, promoting what we see serves, promoting the images of love that we want to see in the collective. All we have to do is feed those, because as twins, we have this greater amplification ability in our vibrational field to feed the collective from our vibration and our frequency. So we can stay in judgment or we can lift to love. Those are the choices with this new moon, because the guidance is being sought from divine feminine energies at this time, it's your call. It's your choice. What reflection of the divine are you going to put forward? Love, codependency, judgment, life, value? What are you going to put forward? You are the light that is leading this world into what we're going to have next. So you choose. It is by your hand that the world is formed. And yeah, I was reminded as I was preparing for this video that it is the divine feminine's heart that leads the way forward at this time and through 2020. It is her heart that shows us the truth of what love really is. So interesting times, very powerful moment for this divine feminine's new moon. Like I said, she's having a lot of conversations all over the chart. Interestingly, during the divine masculine's new moon, he was having a lot of conversations all over the chart and was faced with a similar choice point. If you want to go back and listen to the divine masculine's new moon, it'll be linked below this video. But because this is such a clarion call to service for divine feminines, again, it's a great time to do a personal reading. You can email me at chrysalismoon@gmail.com. That autoresponder will tell you exactly how to book. And then once you've paid, I'll send you an invitation to schedule your appointment in my calendar. We've got appointments available for the first half of May to get you calibrated toward your divine service work at this time. Let's take a look at what the divine masculine's doing. So here's Jupiter, divine masculine, hanging out here in the sign of Capricorn. He is in conjunction with Lord of the Underworld, Pluto, Pallas, the protector, Chariclo, the divine intercessor, and Saturn, Lord of time, order, and integrity. All of this breaking down in the sign of Capricorn. I have stressed what this energy is about so many times in so many videos. Again, that divine masculine's new moon will talk extensively about what this energy is. So I'm not going to repeat here. But the interesting thing is that the divine masculine here is having a square with the creation goddess. And here she is in the sign of partnership, the sign of balance, equity, fairness, and justice, Libra. And so it's interesting because during this period of time, as I said, the energy of squares bring forward a lot of tension. They bring forward, as my teacher Nadia Shah says, motivation to do the right thing, to do the next thing, to evolve, to find that new way forward. With Jupiter square creation goddess, with all of this breaking down of structure energy, there is this energy in the divine masculine energy and in the divine masculine collective for all of us, asking us, okay, so perhaps there's some stuff that had to go, that had to die, that didn't work. Within you is the divine power to create. You are a creator. You can create things. How do you create based on what you now know? What do you want to bring forward? And how do you take concrete steps toward it now? Because this is not a spiritual energy. This is not a meditate on it energy. This is a 3D world earth energy. Remember, there's lots of placements here in earth signs, and the divine masculine sits in the structural concrete earth sign of work, which is Capricorn. How do you begin to bring what you want to create into the 3D world? There's going to be retrograde energies coming up very soon for the divine masculine. He is going to retrograde let's see, May 14th through September 13th. So you're going to be able to, as a divine masculine, listening to this message, this is a moment in time where you're going to find you're going to be able to glimpse the future. And then, right as you're starting to put pieces in place and lay that foundational work for the future, retrograde Jupiter hits May 14th through September 13th. That'll be Capricorn, the 27th degree, back to the 17th degree. So that'll also include the second meeting of Pluto, Lord of the Underworld. And so, interestingly, just as you're glimpsing the future at this new moon and starting to put things into place, the energy retracts in May. And there, as you're starting to put things in place, things pop up that will force you to have a look at, oh, I didn't properly put this or that to bed. And it's certain things from the past in the world of work or money or relationship or family. There are things that you didn't tie up the loose ends on well enough that are going to ask you to fully tie up those loose ends so that this future that you're starting to implement can become possible for you. So not to worry if coming end of May or, in the coming months, you're on a good clip, you've got momentum, and then poof, something reaches out of the past to grab your attention. It's not your fault. It's just because it needed better structure and better boundaries to be fully laid to rest. And so you're going to have to create that this year. All right. Yeah. That's the big energy facing the divine masculine. Like I said, most of the energies at this new moon are facing the divine feminine. There's one other, I'm going to leave that. Because it's more facing the collective than just the divine masculine, but it's here. I guess I'll mention it. Gotta sneeze. 1 second. Okay, sneeze over. Eris. She's the energy of discord, strife, and disharmony. And she really tends to come on the scene when we have been disenfranchised and taken the short end of the stick too many times. This Eris energy is also creating a T-square energy with the creation goddess and the divine masculine. And so, one thing here that I want to highlight for you, divine masculines who are listening, and for all of us, as we go about the business of trying to implement the structure that's going to hold the love that we want to manifest in the world, as the past starts to reach its little claws into the present and say, you didn't put me to rest, you need to deal with me. Because we're in the sign of partnership here, it could include exes. Because we're opposite the sign of family here, it could include children that need more definitive structure and attention as we move through certain transitions. And it can include pieces of ourself and our past that no longer serve us, that wounds that we thought we laid to rest that we need to deal with. This energy squaring in a T-square to the divine masculine here under this new moon is illuminating the things that must be dealt with so that we can be a better manifestation of our divinity on planet Earth. But this energy has been here all year. This is not news. Like I said, I go in depth about this in the Divine Masculine's New Moon. Definitely have a look at that because it talks about the energy that's in effect for all of our masculine energies through the remainder of this zodiac year and for the Divine Masculines in particular. Have a listen. But just know that this little game of whack-a-mole with the past that keeps coming up, like, dang, I thought I dealt with this. Man, I thought I handled this. This wound, I have looked at it so many times. I'm over it. Why does this ex keep popping back up? Why can't he or she just take a hint? It's because you haven't appropriately put down the boundaries around the way you're moving your life forward. When we appropriately put down those boundaries around the way we're moving our life forward, either around those wounds and we've gotten appropriate structural healing for them, or around those old relationships and we've appropriately placed relationships where they're going to be in our lives, or around our families. We've created appropriate boundaries in our families or with our kids. Until we've done that, 2020 is going to feel like a giant game of whack-a-mole with the past, with our masculine energies, because what our life is crying out for is our masculine ability to lay down the law on how life is going to move forward as a direct reflection and expression of our divinity and our love on planet Earth. So if you're noticing some of that whack-a-mole has kind of crept up over the course of this particular new moon and the last new moon, the Divine Masculine's new moon, because this energy is in effect for the rest of 2020, this is a perfect time to get a personal reading. Because in that reading, whatever's hanging out in a blind spot that is causing things to keep creeping up while you're trying to move forward, whatever it is, we'll have a look at it in a way that will make it so that you can't unsee it and you know exactly what you need to do to finally start being able to move forward and getting the best out of these transits, instead of continuously feeling like you're getting sucked under by these transits. So the way to get that reading is to email me, chrysalismoon@gmail.com, KRYSALISMOON@gmail.com. Check your spam or your promotions folder for that autoresponder if you don't see it right away. That autoresponder will tell you how to book. And then once you're paid, I will go ahead and send you an invitation to my calendar. And you'll have the opportunity to get on in here for the first 2 weeks of April, and you can have a very different path forward in 2020, because you'll know what it is that you're being asked to look at and deal with instead of repeating the same patterns over and over. I thank you so much for liking, watching, subscribing, and sharing these videos wherever you are doing that. And I look forward to hearing how all of this resonates for you in the comments below. Take great care and bye for now.